Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick from MMA Pixels here with Austin, the Dynasty Liu. We're about to break down UFC 224 going down this weekend in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, this Saturday, May 12th. How are you doing, Austin?
Doing good.
Uh, Like I said, we have this card going down. We're going to go over just the main card. That's four fights. The first one is Belfort versus Lyoto Machida. How do you see this fight playing out?
So what I've analyzed so as far as Vitor Belfort goes in his last few fights, is we all know that Vitor has the KO power. He could knock people out with almost any strike, whether it be the hook, his straight left, or his high kick even, or his wheel kicks as well. But what we see him tend to do a lot of times is he waits, then he explodes in small bursts. He's not one of those fighters that he's not going to keep a high pace the whole fight. He's not as young as he used to be, but he's definitely still a little bit of a sprinter. He kind of waits. He waits to see an opening, and then he'll sprint and explode and throw an explosive combination. But um, what I've noticed also in his tendencies is that he uses the left slip super often. I mean, whenever he's pressuring forward, as soon as he sees the slightest movement from his opponent, he slips to the left. And he's a southpaw, so he's slipping to the left. He's looking for the left cross. He doesn't usually slip to the right because it's not something he's embedded into his reflexes yet. But I noticed he also throws a left kick, the left high kick very often from open. Sometimes he'll set it up, sometimes he won't. Sometimes he'll just be in an open stance and you'll just crack it. And then another thing too, a negative that I see in Vitor right now is that he's been through a lot of wars. I mean, that's no surprise. He's an older guy, and his chin. I mean, it's not a big secret that his chin isn't what it used to be. And cardio, it can also be a problem if it goes past round two, in my opinion. Now for Lyoto Machida, he's a super accurate striker, and he's a very good counter striker as well. And he's got that karate style stance. So you could expect to see him bouncing, in and out. And he's got a super wide stance. But where Vitor's kicks come into play is, Machida's got a really wide stance. And we see in MMA, when a guy has a wide karate stance, that makes him really susceptible to a leg kick. So if Machida's going to implement that wide karate stance, he's got to be, conscious of Belfort's leg kicks. He's got to be ready to either catch it and throw a kick right away or slide out as soon as he sees him twist his hips. And Machida also stays outside almost all the time in his fights. He doesn't stay in the pocket at all. I mean, he's out of range. He's got his hand up. He's palming karate style, and he'll land like a two-punch combination, just slide out, move laterally or whatever. And he also doesn't mind to fight with his back to the cage. You see in a lot of his fights, he's not the one pressing the action. He's not the one going forward. He's the one staying with his back to the cage. And as soon as he gets almost pinned to the cage, he'll circle out. He's comfortable against the cage, kind of like Tyron Woodley. And we see also his hands what I've noticed is his hands kind of drop pretty low when he throws a kick, whether it be to the body or to the legs or whatever. But he tends to keep his guard hand kind of low. He swings one hand, but he keeps the other hand really low. And I think Vitor, if he's smart, he could capitalize on that by countering him with a hook as soon as he throws the kick. And then also sometimes I see, let me see here. I also noticed that because of his karate style, he has this type of frame defense. So in karate, your stance is kind of like this. This is called a frame right here. This is something that John Jones made really popular during his career. But what Lyoto does sometimes is he frames with two hands. He'll kind of go like this. And what that does is it exposes my chin on this side. So, he's not blocking his left side right here. So Vitor, if he was smart, he could feint and then throw the hook, and he could come around right here. But as far as the fight goes, Vitor Belfort, his keys to win are definitely going to be to pressure Machida to the cage. I think he's got to use feints to set up the leg kick in order to, take out Machida's leg, because it's going to be way out there, and that's going to hinder Machida's mobility, therefore hindering his ability to counter and move effectively. And I think he needs to set up the hooks with feints or throw body shots, because when you throw body shots on your opponent's hands are up here. As soon as you throw a body shot, body shots don't feel good in a fight, especially if you take the wind out of your opponent. So eventually their hands are going to drop right here. So Vitor could get Lyoto's hands to drop in anticipation for a parry or a block. He could come over the top of the hook. He could feint down here, come over the top with the hook, something like that. Now for Machida, I see his keys to victory being using his movement to fatigue Vitor. I think he can't stay in the pocket very long. He's got to stick and move, make Vitor chase him, make Vitor miss, because that's something that makes people very tired in fights. He needs to counter Vitor's blitzing hooks, because a lot of times in Vitor's fights, he's kind of standing southpaw and he kind of waits. And as soon as he sees a little opening, he'll swarm forward and he's throwing, 90% hooks. And what's the shortest point from point A to point B? It's a straight line. So when Vitor is throwing these hooks, the easy counter for Lyoto is to slide back and throw his straight left. It's easy to counter a hook with a straight left, especially if your hands are up. And then his last key to victory is definitely to stay off the cage, circle off the cage. Because as soon as he gets to the cage, that's when we see Vitor usually sprint. As soon as his opponent's back hits the cage, he blasts the left kick and he'll throw a ton of hooks. And that's when he finishes a lot of people is against the cage. But yeah, as far as this fight goes, I see Vitor getting the fight. I see him getting the win. I'm not sure if it's going to be a finish. I think maybe a decision, just because I think Lyoto's going to fight a smart fight in the first 2 rounds. And I think in the 3rd round, Vitor's not going to have a ton left in the gas tank, but he's going to have enough to outpoint Lyoto, in my opinion, using the strategies implemented. All right, guys, this was Austin and Dynasty Liu. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys want to follow me on social media, my Instagram handle is going to be @LiuDynastyMMA. My Twitter is going to be @LiuDynastyMMA as well. If you guys like this breakdown, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up and subscribe.